seconds and counting.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Clutch City Entertainment video. It's your boy Big E here, and it's time to address the elephant in the room, and it's time to talk about Stephen Silas potentially, probably, most likely getting fired and just not being the Rockets head coach next season. After a long 3 years of having Silas as the head coach of this rebuild, he ended up going 58-177, 58 wins, 177 losses. With one more game left, he either goes 59-177 or 58-178. Averaging a point per game of 109 is just a disaster if you've been watching the games. Before we even get to what I think is going to happen, who's going to be the head coach, why Silas is fired, I'm just going to put out a disclaimer out there that when Silas is fired, you're going to see a lot of people who haven't been watching the Rockets just talk about how he was set up to fail and how he was there to, do something that he wasn't signing up for. But honestly, if you've been watching and you've been seeing the rotations that this man has been running, and if you've been seeing what he says in press conferences, I mean, if we go back to one of the press conferences on the 11th of March, he said that Eric Gordon can be the primary ball handler and that Jalen Green cannot be a ball handler, that he has to have Eric Gordon or Daishen Nix next to him to make it work, which is definitely surprising considering that at the end of this season, we've been seeing that, Jalen has been more of a primary ball handler and that, he's been making a lot of playmaking reads. He's been making the right reads. He's been getting assists. We can also go back and just see the amount of times he benched Jalen or, he froze out Jalen Green off the offense. For example, there's multiple games where he had like 18 points in the third quarter by himself. And then in the fourth quarter, he'd put up one shot or two shots. We can also go see that recently, he was talking about how the assistant coach, Coach Mahmoud Abdel Fattah, who he's been saying that we should run the pick and roll with Jalen and KPJ more, and that it took him a month to actually run it and to actually focus on it, and then both of them went off for 30. We can, also go back to him just straight up saying that he doesn't run any plays for Jabari Smith Jr., the number 3 pick that the Rockets picked. And, if you've been watching, you know that this has been a long time coming. I wish Coach Silas the best. He could be an assistant somewhere on a competitive team, but as a head coach, I just don't see it anymore. The guys, I just don't think he's the head coach material, especially after these 3 years of what I've been seeing. But anyways, let's look on to something brighter to see the potential replacements for Coach Stephen Silas. The name we've heard the most and the name that I want the most is the Raptors coach, Mr. Nick Nurse, the guy who was coaching the Vipers just before Mahmoud. And, we know what Nick Nurse can do. His defense is probably one of the best in the league. He holds guys accountable. He fits exactly what we're looking for as a head coach. His offense might be a little bit strange and weird and non-traditional, let's say, but his defense is just where I'm like, wow. You put Tari, Essam, Jabari, and then potentially Wembanyama on a Nick Nurse defense. I don't think anyone could score on that. Like, those 3 guys would just be clamps all game. And we could go on to some other candidates. There's Ime Udoka for the Celtics. I don't know how I feel about that just because of his history, of the issues that he's had. He's definitely a great coach, but I don't know what the problems are off the court and, the issues that had him fired from Boston and just those charges, those alleged charges. We don't really need another, who in Houston. We can also take a look at Philadelphia's assistant coach and former point guard of the Houston Rockets, Sam Cassell. He's definitely a guy that a lot of NBA players, especially the young NBA players, would respect. He's been in the league, he played in the league, he's been coaching in the league, and he hasn't been given a head coaching opportunity before. That's my major risk, is that we need someone that we can just lock in for the next 3 years, 4 years, and just let him build. Kind of like what the Texans did with D'Amico. They got him for 6 years, and they're definitely going upwards. So a real good head coach would fix a lot of problems just by himself. But yeah, the main candidate and my favorite candidate is definitely Nick Nurse. He's already well known in the league. He has a great defensive scheme. He has guys that respect him, and he's gonna hold the young guys accountable. Again, I keep saying it, but it's my main concern is that you go out there, you see sometimes like KPJ, Jalen Green, Sengun, Jabari, whoever, not going back on defense or taking bad shots or shooting lazily or, just not playing well. And instead of holding them accountable and benching them, we see Silas used to just let them play, let them keep committing the same mistakes. And with Nurse or with maybe even Sam Cassell, we really wouldn't be seeing that anymore. And I mean, that's pretty much about it. Nick Nurse can also get free agents. You have Gary Trent Jr. on the Raptors, who would be a perfect fit for Houston, in my opinion, at least. And I don't know how that's going to play out. I don't know if he'd follow his old coach, but that could definitely be an option. But yeah, with that being said, Silas is most likely gone out of Houston. He's not coaching the Rockets anymore. So get ready for a new coach next season and hopefully a new team identity. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments who you would like to be the Rockets' next head coach. And yeah, see you guys on the next video.